Hello, 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 everybody, and thank you for tuning in to today's channeling session. I hope everyone is having a beautiful March 2019 and enjoying this beautiful weather wherever you are in the world. And so today, what came through as we were sort of tapping into what the topic was going to be for today, it sounds like kind of an interesting variety of things, all related to the Ascension. And several things were coming through. How social media is related to the Ascension process, interestingly enough, and a lot of other things. So we're just going to kind of see what comes through. And like we've said before, always remember that all channeling is related to the life experience and the lens of the channel. And so the information that's coming through is always kind of pulled through the vocabulary and the life experience of the channel. And in that way, it's very beautiful, but it also is limited a little bit. So take what resonates with you and leave the rest. And if you would like more information about how Dianne gets her information, please see our other video entitled How Dianne Gets Her Information. And again, we just thank you for being with us, and we're excited to see what comes through today.
Okay, thank you, Heather. I'm just going to say that, it just seems to be a little bit of I want to say like a mishmash of information that's coming through as to what we are going to be discussing today. So I have kind of like just put myself aside and just going to let them come through with whatever information they want to bring through. So I don't know exactly, we don't have an exact, maybe necessarily exact subject that we can talk about, or it may turn into that. So we're just going to wing this and just see what they want to talk about. I think there's a lot of different things, so it may hone into one thing, or it just may be a scattering of different ideas. So we're just going to let them do their thing and come through and say whatever they would like to. They do know, and I want to say too, they do know that we do this for the majority of the people, no matter what level of spirituality that they're on. So they just want to kind of cover all bases, and some things may already be of knowledge to you if you've been on your spiritual path for a while, and some things may be new to you, to some people. So they just want that to be known. So again, take what resonates with you, and that would be great, and that's what they want. So they want it to kind of just be all encompassing for all different levels of getting into this stuff. So that being said, I'm going to just let them talk about what they want to talk about. So thank you very much. Yes, we want to thank those that are listening, and we want to thank those that are giving the information through. We would like to talk today. We want to start out speaking about we're going to call it the pieces of the puzzle. And what we want you to imagine looking at a jigsaw puzzle. And you've opened the box, and you see all the different pieces of the puzzle lying there. And you know that you want to put these pieces together to form a picture. And you already know what the picture is because you have the picture on the box. So you know what your goal is. You know what the outcome is. But you just don't quite know how to put those pieces together at this point in time to get that outcome. So as you look at your individual pieces in front of you, you decide that the first thing you might want to do is make a framework. And so you might start looking for the pieces that form the frame of that puzzle, the outside square of the puzzle, if it's your typical jigsaw puzzle. And that is where you start, by creating your framework. And once you get your framework in, you look at it and you feel a sense of pride, you feel a sense of accomplishment, You feel a sense of, okay, I've got a good start. I've got a good beginning. And the next thing is to start looking for like pieces and looking for things that you look on your picture and trying to put it together. And trying to put those pieces together that make sense. Trying to make sense out of all these different individual pieces that eventually come together to form the bigger picture. So what we want to do is relate that to spirituality, or the growth of the human being, the growth of learning and of growing spiritually, and understanding planetarily what is happening. And putting those pieces together is very, very important to create the entire picture. But what we want to note is that as you start putting this puzzle together, some people will start with certain pieces, and other people will decide to start with other pieces or another area of the puzzle. And this again can relate to exactly what is happening now. So you've got an awakening planet. The planet and the people on the planet are starting to wake up, as the phrase that you use, and is very significant because it is waking up. It's opening your eyes, opening your third eye, and opening up your mind and heart to everything that's going on around you in a much higher level, looking at a much higher source, looking at everything from a higher picture, so to speak. So as that happens, everybody comes at it from a different angle, let's say, from a different way of looking at it, from putting different pieces together. Everybody eventually is going to form the same picture. Everybody's going to end up with the same finished picture. But everybody individually is going to go about it in a different way and look at different pieces and put the pieces together differently, maybe at different paces. Maybe some take a little longer to do the puzzle. Maybe some are really quick and get that puzzle done quickly. And this is exactly what we can relate to human nature, to humanism, to third dimensional worlds as we speak of. And everybody is on a different level. Everybody is on a different if you want to even say mission on the planet at this time. But what we want to show you with this analogy is that everybody is going to end up with the same picture eventually, but just go about it in a different way and put the pieces together differently. So as we see it, as you speak of being woke, or being woke meaning understanding that things are changing, understanding the world around you, understanding on a spiritual level that things are much maybe different than you actually really thought, and you start waking up to that information, waking up to changes, waking up to the fact that things might be different and bigger and much larger than you ever thought. You expand your thinking, you expand your knowledge. As you do that, and you start looking at and start putting the pieces together, your picture starts coming together. You put a couple pieces together here, a couple pieces together there, and it starts formulating an entire picture. And again, that is what is happening in the world, in the entire world of people on the planet are slowly starting to put those pieces together. But we also want to say that people are putting different pieces together at different times. They have different lengths of time that it may take them to put those pieces together. And this goes back to another session we talked about, was the division amongst people. Well, it's not so much a division as we see it. We just see it as the jigsaw puzzle being put together in different ways, all the pieces being put together eventually, but people putting them together in different ways and at different lengths of time. So if you can understand what we're trying to explain to you, as you start putting the pieces together, and you may not always have all the pieces. Maybe sometimes there's a few pieces of the puzzle missing, and you're looking desperately for those few pieces that you seem not to have. Well, that's another thing that's happening too, is that people are just searching and looking, and they're understanding bits and pieces, and this piece of the puzzle and that piece of the puzzle, and trying desperately to fit it all together, to put it all together into an understandable picture. And so if you can always look at it that way and look at the pieces and understand that it's not always going to be all the answers. Everybody is not going to have all the answers. Everybody is not going to have the entire puzzle figured out. But if you can slowly put those pieces together and start creating a picture, it's going to be very useful for those who are on the path of ascension. And that's what we were discussing, and that's what we wanted to talk about, is the path to ascension. Ascension is actually, the definition of ascension is finding a higher level, finding a higher path, moving up to another level is really what ascension is. Growth to another level, looking at things from a different level. So that is a very simplified version of what ascension really is, because it is much more complicated than just that one sentence. It's a very complicated process, and everybody, again, ascension is real. Ascension is happening. Ascension is a slow process in the beginning. So this is where people are starting to wake up and understand things are moving, things are changing, they're feeling different, they're putting the pieces together, they're starting to try to understand where all this is leading to and what all this is and where is it going. So that is very important to look at that and say, do it piece by piece. You don't have to have all the answers immediately. That's not the important part of this. The important part is the fun that you have, again, of putting that puzzle together piece by piece and finding that one piece that you've been looking for, and there all of a sudden it fits exactly where it needs to go. And that's that aha moment. That's the moment that you have joy and you feel accomplishment. And that's exactly what we want you to feel on your spiritual path. We want you to feel that, oh, I found this piece and this makes sense and this fits into my world. This fits into my thought process. This fits into what I am relating to. And that's what this is about, the slow progressive process of fitting your pieces together to make your whole picture. And we're explaining this to you because we want this to help you. We want you to be able to look at it that way and say, I don't have to know everything. People we see are starting to become maybe a little anxious or a little even afraid or feeling that they're not knowing enough, that they don't have enough information. But we don't want everybody to be able to feel that way and to look at it that way. We want everybody to understand that they're putting their pieces together individually as they need to do it, what they need to see, when they need to see it, and how they need to put that together. And that's all part of ascension. That's all part of the growth of the next level of where you're going to go. Until you get that entire frame filled in, which could take a long time for some people. And that is perfectly fine, that you don't have to rush this. You don't have to feel like everything has to be done at once. Just the growth and the learning and the understanding at whatever process and whatever time it takes you is right for you. We feel, and as we go back to the other session of the division, we feel sometimes groups and people are comparing themselves to each other. These people know this and they understand that and I don't understand that and I wish I understood that. No, that creates division and that creates competition. And this is not a competition. This is a learning, growing experience for all the planet, for everybody on the planet. And everybody needs to do this at their own speed, at their own pace, and create their puzzle, create their finished picture, create their finished puzzle in their own time frame and in their own way of doing it. Because if you decide that you're going to create the puzzle and finish the puzzle and compete with a person that you don't even know, that you have no idea of their background or their past lives or anything that they have done, and you're saying, well, wait a minute, I know so-and-so must have finished this puzzle in, this amount of time, and I really should do that. I really should be able to do that. If I'm smart, I can compete with that, and I can do it that quickly. No, that is not what it's about. It's about enjoying putting the pieces together. Putting those pieces together of that puzzle and finding out about yourself along the way, about how you're putting that puzzle together and what it means to you. And that's the important part. The important part is not finishing the puzzle. The important part is the journey of making the puzzle, of putting it together. And again, we're comparing this to life, to understanding and enjoying along the way. Enjoying the path to ascension is really very important. And we want everybody to understand that. We want people to understand that this is an enjoyment. This is not a hardship. This is not something that has to be looked upon as being difficult. It's something that should be enjoyed every step along the way. For every little piece that you pick up of that puzzle and you put it in the puzzle and find the perfect place for it, that's enjoyment. And that's what we would like you to think about and to look at and understand that there's enjoyment in the ascension process. It is not supposed to be a hardship. It is supposed to be an enjoyment, and enjoying the path along the way, enjoying finding those little pieces and putting them together for you personally, and not to have it be a competition with this group or a competition with that person. There is no right time for this. It's only what is right for you. And again, we have spoke before, as an individual, to go inside and find out what resonates with you and what makes you who you are. That's all part of this ascension process. So we want people to understand, and for you to understand, that it's all very, very good for you. Whatever you're doing is fine for you, as long as you're open to listening and understanding what might be being given to you, and looking at it and putting it in its place, and being able to, okay, now I'm done with that step, I can move on to the next one. That's all it is. It's just that simple. It's just that simple, to just move along the path to ascension. And that's what we want to talk about, is just moving along that path, moving along to the next level. But it doesn't have to be a sudden thing. It doesn't have to be a test. It doesn't have to be a time situation. It's you just growing and learning on your own level and your own time. And so it is not a competition. It is not, we understand that people feel that they want it all. They want to learn all. They just want to keep, just getting ahead and moving ahead and growing and growing. And that is a good thing. That is very positive. But again, to enjoy the beauty of learning this amazing journey along the way, and stopping and understanding that there's beauty and much to behold along this path, along the way of finding these pieces and putting them together, and the enjoyment of it, or else it's lost. If you're not enjoying your spiritual path, if you're finding it to be stressful, if you're finding it to be a competition, if you're finding it to be a hardship, then you need to look at that. We'll never say you're doing it wrong, but you need to look at that and say, why? Why do I feel this is hard for me? Why do I feel, competitive? Why am I feeling more negative about this than I should? This should be more of a happy thing, more of a great experiment, a great experience. And so look at that, and just look at that and see what's making you feel that way. What's making you feel this competition? What's making you feel that you're not keeping up? Because it's not about that. It's about your individual path. And everybody's path right now is leading to ascension. It really, really is. And we want you to understand that on a very clear level, on a very clear observation, that everybody is on their path and everybody's on their right path. And so do not be concerned, again, about other groups, other people, what they think, what they know. It's not important to you. What's important to you is what you know and what you're learning, and your piece of the puzzle, and how you're putting that puzzle together. So it's a beautiful thing to be able to make your framework, look at the picture, know what your goal is, know where you're going, know that there's an end to this, know that there's something there that you're making, you're creating, and putting that together at your own pace, your own way, and putting it all together and coming to where you need to be. And it's just really a very simple process. But we don't want to see people start to get very tied up or caught up in any kind of spiritual competition. That's not what it's about. So that's something we wanted to discuss today, and try to do an analogy to make you see how important it is to finish, to enjoy along the way and get to a place where you're there. You feel like you've completed the puzzle, and now you can step back. And another thing is to be able to you have this puzzle in front of you, and now it's finished, and you're looking at the finished picture, and it's done, and you're looking at the picture on the box, and then you're looking at the puzzle that you just completed. And it's interesting how you feel when you've completed that puzzle. It's kind of a feeling of accomplishment, and also a little bit of, well, sadness in a way of, well, what do I do now? I worked so hard on this puzzle and putting it together, and it was such a labor of love. And it was so, interesting how I found the pieces and put it all together, and now it's done. And it's a little bit of a feeling, I think, for people of, now what? Now what? What's the next step? Do I start another puzzle? Or do I just walk away from it? And everybody's going to have a different feeling about that too. Everybody's going to feel differently. Well, I'm done now for a little while. I've worked hard on this puzzle, and I need to just step away from it for a while. Or other people are ready to jump right in and start another puzzle, and let's see what's next. Let's do the next one. And that's life too. Everybody is going to have their different feeling and their different way of going about it. And so again, the feeling of once you've finished your puzzle, you can back away from it. Back away from that puzzle and look at it as just that. All you're looking at is just that square of that puzzle that's now completed. But as you back away from it, and you've been concentrating on that puzzle for so long, and putting those pieces together, and how important it was, and how it made you feel along the way when you start feeling, how it is to find that perfect piece and put it in its place, and how that makes you feel. And then you back away from it when it's done, and suddenly you might even have a different feeling about it. It's like, oh, okay, is that it? I finished the puzzle, now what? And that's what we want you to look at too, is so when you complete all your pieces and you're putting all your pieces together, it will never really be complete, because there's always something else. There's always a feeling of there's something else. So it will not end. It will not be an ending to the feeling of again, your pathway to ascension, to your feeling like I the next step, the next thing I have to do, maybe the next puzzle. There's always going to be something else to go to. So if you start making it a competition or making it be this time thing, then it's not going to feel right. It's not going to feel. You're going to feel like you're. It's a stressful feeling, a feeling like, well, what do I do now? What's the next step? So if you just really concentrate on that and just slow down and look at it and say, what did I learn? What did I learn from putting this particular puzzle together, and looking at it a little differently? And instead of just having that empty feeling of like, now I'm done with this, look at it and think about how you put that together, and what it took, and the love and the time and the creativity of putting that together. And that's what, again, the path to ascension really is looking at it along the way, looking at your creativity, looking at what you've learned, looking how you blossomed, looking at what you know today that you didn't know yesterday, looking at your accomplishments, and reveling in your accomplishments, and knowing how far you've come is a wonderful thing. So this is just what we want to tell you, and we want to stop now and ask if there's any questions.
Oh, that's really interesting. I absolutely love that perspective. That's such a great way to kind of look at this whole journey that we've been going on. So I don't have any questions right now. If you wanted to get on to another one of the things you wanted to share with us, I feel like that was complete.
Excellent. Well, thank you. We just wanted to make sure that we were not going on and not allowing the questions to come in. So, so what we want to talk about too, another subject, and okay, so I'm just saying now what they're telling me is they don't want to jump too much to another subject, but since they're talking about ascension, they kind of want to bring up this other subject, which kind of ties in a little bit, I think. So anyway, they want to talk about again, another subject that they were kind of bringing up before is the social media and your path to ascension. So this is just another little topic that they wanted to talk about. Now, either we can, I'm going to ask Heather whether we should make that another topic or if we wanted to just blend right into that now. It's.
I think we could blend into that now, and then this would be a nice little package.
Okay.
That would be good. That
All
feels good to me.
All right. Good. Then I'll just let me bring in what they want to say about that and give me a minute. So, okay. So what they want to say is, right now, social media is a very hot topic right now. Social media is really very, very important. And there are so many ways of looking at the new world that you have of social media. There's so much out there, and there's so much information that was never there before. And what we really want to say, and we're just going to, not to get too far into it because we may be able to do that at a later time, but what surfacely we want to say about this right now is the fact that that social media is really an important part now to, again, ascension, to be able to make that trip, to make that journey to ascension. Because there are many times, and what we would like to say is we see that there was a time, the planet, when it was formed, when it was created, there was an issue, and that what happened was the negativity took over the planet, took over the space of the planet, and over eons of time, it grew, and it became more and more of a negative place, of a controlling place, and that was taken over by those that wanted to control it. And up until the time that we are at now, presently on your earth, is now where it is coming to a peak, it is coming to a head, it is coming to a place of reckoning, basically, and allowing all of this, as we talked about before, purging up all the negativity so we can see it, so it's there. So this could not have happened. We want to say that there were approximately 7 times on the lifetime of the planet that ascension had tried to take place, had tried to work itself through, have tried to get out from under the grips of the negativity, out from under the grips of those who wanted to control it in a negative way. So there have been several times that this has almost happened, that this has gotten to the point that it could have happened. What stopped it was, in almost every point, was stopping it to the point that they couldn't, it couldn't spread. The information had nowhere to go except in small little areas or groups, and there was no getting the information out there. Thus, this point in time, social media was created to be able to get that information out, for others to be able to communicate with each other and to be able to connect in. And as we talked about with the puzzle, to be able to put those pieces of the puzzle together and to be able to, and we say we don't want competition because that is not, the best way to go about it, but to at least speak with each other and to have a way of communicating worldwide that would be allowing those that needed to connect in with others to understand what was going on, that they're starting to wake up and feel things are different and start, the veil is thinning, so people are starting to understand more of what's going on, but to be able to connect in with each other, to be able to share that. And that was very, very important. So social media was created in many ways for that to happen. It was necessary. It was a point in time of the Earth's history that needed to have that happen, that needed to be able to have that communication worldwide so people could understand each other, and that it didn't just stop at a certain place or a certain level. So that was very important. So that happened, and that came in, and that was given by off-planet. That was an off-planet idea, communication, being able to do that. And those that are that are here to help the planet, to help ascension, to help progress. They caught on to that, and they had that created. But then again, the negative can come in and also always be there to put it in a bad place or a bad direction, and that is what is happening. And there again, as we talk about a battle and a war that is going on, that is another war within a war that is going on, and it's the war of words, so to speak. It's the war of the negative and the evildoers trying to control the social media. So it is under their control, and the information that they want to get out is getting out, and nothing else. And then you've got the people and the good guys, so to speak, the white hats that are trying to keep that from happening and fighting that. So it is a battle right now, a very big battle, and it's very important right now because this is happening as we speak. And this is a battle that's going on. And it's a battle of who is going to get the information out and who's going to suppress the information. And so that is happening. And it is being battled right now. This is really definitely something that is happening and going on. And so it's something to talk about and something important to show. Many people know about this already and can see what's happening. But it goes deeper than that. It really goes back in time to trying to stop ascension, trying to stop people from knowing, from having that information. And once the people know, and we want to say it's too late because the people do know, and the people are aware, and the people have knowledge now, and there's no stopping it. There's no stopping this. There's not going to be, no matter how the evildoers try to stop this and try to make it not, the information not get out there, or try to sway the information to their benefit, or the benefit of, those that don't want the information out there. They can try, but it's not going to work. It's already, the cat's, as you say, so to speak, out of the bag. Mm-hmm. It's already out there. It's already done. It's not going to happen. So as much as they're going to try, this is almost one of the last battles. This is almost one of the last battles that there is, because it's the battle of the word, and it's the battle of thought. And you can't, that is not going to win out over those that are doing everything they can to keep that thought process and that communication going. So that is very important to know that. So that is, again, on the path to ascension. It's a big part of people connecting in and understanding and knowing, and that is, again, part of the journey, part of the process of getting to ascension, of getting there, of being able to understand and communicate with each other and learn and take classes. And there's so much that could never have happened before because of social media not being there. No, there's no access to it. It didn't exist. And so it's extremely important. And so, again, as you put all the pieces of the puzzle together, that is just another big piece to that puzzle. So social media is a definite huge piece to that puzzle to ascension, to be able to have people wake up, to understand, to grow, to learn. We've never on your planet ever have seen this before. It's never been there before. It's never happened. It's something very unique, and again, very, very amazing, impressive time to be on the planet, to be able to see this, to be able to see and get over the hump using the social media to be able to communicate. And no matter what negativity they try to put into it and try to control it with, it's not going to work. It's just not going to happen.
It is. It's still like a wildfire. I feel like it's so powerful every single day. People are, becoming more and more courageous, and those throat chakras are opening up, and at whatever level of the journey and whatever part of the puzzle that they're in, they're sharing, and we're all sharing with each other. And really, even though they are censoring us, lightworker types, if they're not able to censor us all, and it's going.
This is so correct. This is so correct. When the majority of the population is able to communicate and connect into this, and connect into the spirituality, and connect into the ascension process, and connect into all of the purging and the lies, and it's in everybody's face now. It's there. It's open. The door has opened. Pandora's box has opened up, and all of this is spilling out, and everybody is aware of it. There's not really one person on the planet that's not aware of this on some level. It is huge. It is very, very expansive. And so, yes, so it's important. It is so important to be able to have that now, and everybody feeling it and everybody understanding it. And again, knowing it's for the good, knowing it is important that no matter what negativity is attached to it, it is so outweighed by the good that is coming from it. And we want to say too, we want to go back in time, and we want to say that there was a time on your planet in the 60s, in the early 70s, there was a time when the people were rising up. The people were starting to understand. We're starting to get the understanding of frequency and of things not being quite right on the planet. And that was opening up. And you call that the hippie movement, the revolution. There was all the music, everything that was happening was just this big ball of fire, as we see it, and just like sparking everywhere and sparking. And the music at that time, the music was the glue that held those people together. And the music spoke. The words and the music spoke to those people, and they were opening up through the music because they did not have social media at that point to be able to communicate with. So the communication at that time was the music.
Wow.
And that's what they connected into. But that could only go so far, because you can listen to the music and you can understand the music, but that's limited. That has limits.
You can't interact, you can't ask questions, you
Exactly.
can't connect, you can't...
Exactly. It spoke to the people. They understood the words of the music. And surprisingly enough, that music still today does connect in. It still works. It still is a great connection. We want to say the music of lately, not so much. It is not the music that is connecting into the positive. And that's a whole other issue we can talk about. But we want to say that the music of the past, of the 60s, of the early 70s, that was music that people were feeling the vibration, feeling the connection. And that was the glue. That was the connecting piece to everything. But what happened along the way was that could only hold the glue for so long, because it was a slow process. Putting music out was not a quick thing. The instantaneousness of social media is what makes it so amazing, and that it can create so quickly. And in instant, everybody all over the world can have the same information. But the music couldn't do that. The music could only do so much.
And even when things are taken down on social media, it still reaches people before it does. There's still screenshots, and it still gets out there, so it's almost like, they try to take certain things down, but it's still seen, and then it's still shared again, because we share this and we say, hey, this was taken down, but we're still sharing it.
That's
very powerful. And that's such an interesting, I always love doing these sessions, and I'm always so open to what comes through, and I'm always so surprised. And I am today. I would have thought social media and Ascension, I just wouldn't have put the two together, but that's really, really amazing and very powerful.
Yes, and we wanted to start out with explaining the puzzle pieces, because again, this is one big piece of the puzzle. Social media is this big missing piece to that puzzle. And all along eons of time, through the Earth's growth and the Earth changes, there was always a missing piece that could not connect, that the connection in was not there. It was, again, trying to find different ways to do that. But the social media was that big missing piece of the puzzle. And now it's time for everybody to put those pieces together and put that social media piece in there. And instead of looking at it in any kind of negative way, look at it in a positive way, a very positive thing, and put the positive energy into it. Put the positive frequency into the social media. Make that change, from the negative to positive. But there are people, again, the good people that are working on this and making this happen and making these changes. There's fine tuning and tweaking needing to be done, of course, but it's there. It cannot be taken away. Once that Pandora's box opened up, you can't shove it back in and close that lid.
Yeah.
And so it's out there, it's there, and it's a beautiful thing. And it's, yes, there's going to be the evildoers that want to change it or make it something else. But again, the cat's out of the bag, as we say, and it's done. So back again in the 60s, when everybody was trying to connect in and trying so desperately to understand. You had Woodstock, which was an amazing event of people coming together. Imagine, think about the fact that it was just a small little another festival that was going to happen. Back in those days, there was festivals here and there all over the place. And there was this little festival. This man was going to open up his farm and let some music happen and let the kids come on the land. And the next thing you know, there were thousands and thousands of people just descending because they wanted to share that feeling. They heard about it and they knew that they could come together in one place and share that energy and share that space and be together. Not because there was no social media. This was the only way people could connect in, which was a lovely way to do it because it was in person. It was face to face, and that was lovely. But again, it was still limited because only so many people, there were thousands of people, only so many people could come and show up and be there and feel that energy and feel that comradeship between all the people of all different areas and different types. And it was a very loving energy. And we want to say too that point in time, that changed. The energy of the earth actually changed. It's very it's important to know that event was so much more than just a music festival. Something happened, and there was a shift. There was, as we say, there was another shift, a timeline shift, and that shifted to the good. It was really a positive leap in the timeline, a positive leap in energy when all those people came together and did this. It changed things, it changed thoughts, it changed actions. Thus, again, the evildoers who couldn't have that happen, it was becoming too strong. People were starting to gather together. The energy was starting to connect in. Even without the social media, that was starting to happen with the music. And so that had to be stopped. And there were ways that was stopped. There were ways that was shown that was not going to be the correct way to go. And you had Kent State. You had the murders at Kent State. You had that division. They had to once again create division to stop that from happening. So you had the Kent State situation that happened, and that was one thing that really put a damper on the, as they say, the flower power era. All of a sudden, things took a negative turn. Things took a bad turn, and then there was division. Another thing that happened was the Charles Manson murders. A bunch of hippies, a bunch of wild, crazy hippies on drugs that went around killing people. Really. False flags. Yeah. And that was happening back then, but it had to be done to stop this movement that was getting so strong. And so that's all part of this. But again, the difference, and we're telling you this because the difference is, if there was social media back then, things might have been different. Things might have turned to the positive. But instead, the control of the negative took over that. And all of a sudden, there was just this division and this separation and this disbanding of this wonderful energy that was happening. So we just want to explain again that what we're seeing now with the social media is very positive and very, so no matter what kind of disagreements that are happening on social media among different groups, as we talked about before, it's okay. It's okay. We see that as being okay. It's just different opinions coming in. But guess what? We still are very happy to see that there are opinions coming in. Mm-hmm. We're still trying to finish that jigsaw puzzle, finish the pieces, and look at it as a finished product and say, okay, we've done that, we've accomplished that, now we're going to move on. And we're putting that big piece of that puzzle with the social media that is going to win in the end, that is going to, the good guys, the white hats, are going to be able to conquer that one more battle of free speech. And being able to have the freedom to do this is going to be conquered, and that's going to be that big piece to that puzzle, if that makes sense.
That is so beautiful. Well, I have to say, I feel a little bit inspired to say, are all of you using your voices and the tools that we have for this ascension process? I would dare to say any stage of your, ascension process, start a little group. Share. Do what feels comfortable for you, and be be a part of the movement and share at whatever level you're comfortable. Dip your toe in the water and expand, and then jump in the pond with us, guys, okay?
And we want to say we're so glad you're saying that, because again, there's nothing like the energy of in person. Social media has created this amazing connection on social media. But as you say, even forming groups in person, being able to get together. And social media is also doing that. Social media is finding a way to say, oh, we think alike. Let's get together if we're in the same area. Let's talk. And that is what it's about. It's about connecting people in. But again, there's nothing like being next to a person talking, being able to create that energy together and raise that frequency together. So again, excellent point of being able to, yes, to connect in, just as they did in Woodstock. Connect in and look what that energy did. It was amazing. So it can happen, but again, the social media is the glue, and now it's time to expand out a little bit. And as you say, start meeting in person, start forming groups, start talking, start being, interconnecting on a human level in person. Is it a whole nother
Yeah,
part
and start
to it?
groups on Facebook too.
Yes.
You don't have to be a guru or an expert. In fact, it's more relatable and it's more powerful if you start a group on Facebook or in person at whatever stage of your ascension that you're at. If you've learned so many things, if you've made it through, the shock of the initial realization that things are not maybe what you thought they were here on this planet, if you've, worked your way through your little dark night of the soul and some of these other little things, then commune with others and share and support, and it's just gonna keep going from there, and it's each one of us having a voice, that's so powerful. That's so powerful, because I feel like when there's because for a while there was a few brave souls really putting themselves out there. And when there's only a few brave souls, those few brave souls are easier to silence because there's only a few of them. But when if every single one of us is sharing, our perspective and our knowledge and what we have to share, they can't silence everybody. It's very powerful, and I think it's very nourishing too for other people, and it helps them to feel safe and open up those throat chakras and feel like, okay, look at all these people stepping out of the spiritual closet, or whatever, and connecting in this way. So I invite everyone to do that on whatever level that they're comfortable, and not feel like they have to know it all to be able to do that, because I guarantee there isn't a single person on this planet who's at that place.
And on that note too, everybody can help each other. Some may know of one subject, others may know of another subject. And again, we go back to that jigsaw puzzle of, you have some pieces, they have some pieces. Let's put it all together.
Mm-hmm.
Put all your pieces together,
Yeah.
and put it together, and everybody can share and grow and learn. And it's not who knows more, who knows less. It's not about that. It's about putting it all together. Put all those pieces together in one pot, and let's make one big picture that everybody can understand and relate to, and everybody had a piece and a part of. That's what this is about. And it's about enjoying the journey. There. We're there. We want you to know. We want you to know and understand. Be positive. Keep a positive attitude. Don't let little things irritate you or upset you, because you know what? Where you were and where you are now is a huge difference, a huge step. Look at that and see that and acknowledge it. Acknowledge along the way your progress, how far you've come, where you are now. Look at it and congratulate yourself. Pat yourself on the back and say, wow, I have come far. I do know a lot. I am learning. I am growing. It's important. Give yourself some acknowledgement. That's self-appreciation, and that's important.
Oh, well, I love this, and I know for myself personally, this was so helpful, so thank you. Are we complete?
I think we have said what we wanted to say for this time, and again, we want to thank everybody we are honored for anybody who wants to listen to this information, and if you, again, get anything out of it, we are very grateful. We are very grateful to you all.
Well, thank you so much. It's an honor to connect and to be a part of helping to bring this information forward. So thank you for that. And yeah, and then for everyone listening, thank you so much for being on this journey with us. And we're so grateful to be a part of this ascension process. And if this information resonates with you and you feel like learning and being on this journey with us, then please like and subscribe and get involved. We started a Facebook page that's small, and so you can hop on there and kind of work with us and commune with us and, you know, do what we were just talking about. Be a part of a community together with us, and we really want that. And yeah, and then also, you know, in the description below, you can see how to get a hold of us. If you have questions or ideas on topics that we could tap into that may be helpful for you in your stage of development, let us know. We would love to hear from you and see, you know, what would resonate and be beneficial and helpful for you. So definitely connect with us, and we will talk to you next time.